The final week of the regular season is here, fans. I'm Bobby Broyles, along with Rob Washburn, for this episode of CA Hoops Weekly, presented by Under Armour. 3 teams separated by 2 games, Rob, to determine this year's regular season champion.
Yeah, quite a race we've got going here as the top 3 teams in the conference, UNCW, Charleston, and Towson, all took care of business last week with a pair of victories. The Seahawks and Cougars went on the road and defeated Hofstra and Northeastern to remain 1-2 in the CA standings. UNCW and CFC finished an impressive 7-2 on the road in league play, a stat that becomes more impressive when you consider no other teams are over 500 in CA road games. Now, in its first week without standout senior John Davis, Towson didn't skip a beat, posting double-digit margins over Elon and JMU to increase their winning streak to 6. And as they like to say at the Derby, and down the stretch they come.
Yes, indeed. Let's get into some of those final matchups of the regular season. We start with a huge game on Thursday night at 7 on CA.TV as UNCW welcomes Towson to Trask Coliseum.
You know, these 2 teams were picked first and second in the preseason poll, and they faced each other in the first conference game of the year back on New Year's Eve, with UNCW winning 76-67. The Seahawks took off on a 9-0 start, and they haven't given up the #1 slot all year, while Towson suffered through an 0-4 start, but now has caught fire to win 11 of the last 12 games and begin a steady climb up the standings. This game features such a fun contrast in styles. UNCW's high-flying offense that averages 85 points per game behind the dynamic backcourt trio of Chris Flemings, Denzel Ingram, and CJ Bryce against Towson's tough-minded physical attack that's led by senior William Adalamoto and junior Mike Morcell. Looking back at the first matchup, 2 stats really jump out. UNCW made 10 three-pointers to only 3 for Towson, and the Tigers committed 19 turnovers. Now, while it's not realistic to think Towson's going to match UNCW from the 3-point line, Towson has to cut down on the number of turnovers and be able to handle the pressure of the Seahawks defense and the raucous crowd at Trask Coliseum.
To the Low Country we go now as the College of Charleston plays host to Delaware. We obviously know the implications for the Cougars, but the Blue Hens have a lot to play for as well.
Yes, they do. But Charleston first showed me a lot last week, bouncing back from a couple of tough losses and really playing well on the road in wins at Hofstra and Northeastern. The Cougars shared the ball offensively. They shot better than 54% from the floor in both games, and they were also effective driving the ball and getting to the free throw line. They got great backcourt play from Joe Chili and Grant Riller, and sophomore Jarrell Brantley averaged 19 points last week while shooting 81%. Now, when you combine offensive efficiency with their always tough defense, the Cougars are tough to handle. Now, Delaware ran its winning streak to 3 games with a thrilling 1-point victory over rival Drexel before falling to William & Mary. Freshman Ryan Daly turned in 2 more 20-point outings and drilled a tough game-winning 3-pointer against the Dragons. The Blue Hens are hoping to take that success on the road and build some momentum heading into the conference tournament.
On to Saturday, and speaking of teams trying to get out of the opening night round, James Madison plays host to Hofstra on the American Sports Network at noon.
Yeah, both of these teams would like to get out of Friday's first-round action, and a win would help make that happen. But regardless of where these teams fall in the final standings, they're going to be a challenge for a higher seed to handle at the tournament. Hofstra was in a 1-possession game in the final minute against both UNCW and Charleston last week before coming up short. Justin Wright Foreman has been playing at a ridiculous level with back-to-back 26-point efforts last week to extend his streak of 20-point games to 9, and Rokas Gustis is finally healthy again, coming off consecutive double-doubles. Now, JMU's also been in a ton of close games this season and finally pulled one out with a 95-92 overtime win against William & Mary last Thursday. All 5 starters scored in double figures in that game, and the Dukes are playing extremely hard for Coach Lou Rowe. Now, with a veteran team led by seniors Jackson Kent, Pauly Shotkus, and Yvonne Luchik, JMU is a team that could really get on a roll down the stretch.
And at the conclusion of that contest, switch over to Comcast Sportsnet at 2 as Towson hits the road to take on William & Mary.
Yeah, we obviously don't know what the standings are going to look like on Saturday, but this game is going to have some sort of effect on seeding at the top half of the tournament bracket. William & Mary enters the week with a perfect 12-0 record at Kaplan Arena, and they have averaged over 90 points while shooting better than 50% from the floor at home during the past month. It will also be the final home game for their sensational seniors Daniel Dixon and Omar Pruitt. Both of them averaged better than 20 points per game last week, and you know they're looking to have a memorable finish to their home careers. Now, Towson rallied from a 17-point second-half deficit to beat the Tribe 82-80 on February 4th as Mike Morcell drilled a game-winning 3-pointer with 7 seconds left. The Tigers destroyed the Tribe 49-27 on the glass in that game. But one thing to note, Pruitt missed that game with an ankle injury, so that obviously hurt, and John Davis had 15 rebounds in that win, and unfortunately he's not going to be available on Saturday.
And also at 2 o'clock on CA.TV, UNCW hosts Northeastern. Could be a lot on the line in this one as well, Rob.
Yeah, there certainly could. For UNCW, it could be a chance to clinch a third straight CA regular season title and potentially secure a #1 seed in front of its home fans. Northeastern could need a victory to potentially earn a top 6 seed in a first-round tournament bye. Now, the two teams just met last Thursday, and it was a tale of two halves. Chris Fleming scored 20 of his 21 points in the first half, and the Seahawks took a 39-19 lead into the locker room before the Huskies came roaring back behind 27 second-half points from T.J. Williams and nearly forced overtime. These teams have met in the semifinals of the past 2 CA tournaments, and this game will likely have a postseason feel.
Now here's a look at the rest of the upcoming action around CA men's basketball.
March Madness is coming to Charleston.
You know, when you talk about March, you know that you have to be prepared for it.
If you're fortunate enough to cut down the nets at a CAA championship, there's no other feeling like it.
The CAA tournament is coming to Charleston March 3rd through 6th. 10 teams, 1 goal. Survive and advance. For more information, visit CAAsports.com.
It's high stakes in the low country.
CAsports.com will have all the information you need regarding links to live stats, video, and audio coverage. Also, fans, you can watch all of the CA.TV action on Roku by downloading the CA.TV's Roku app that is available now.
You can also continue to follow the league on Facebook and Instagram by searching CA Sports. We're also on Twitter at CA Basketball using the hashtag CA Hoops.
Next week, folks, it will be high stakes in the low country as the North Charleston Coliseum will host the 2017 CA Men's Basketball Championship. You can purchase your tickets ahead of time by visiting casports.com/tickets.
Yeah, the atmosphere will be great. The games will be exciting. Make sure you don't miss any of the action and get the best seats available.
That is it from us today. Enjoy the final week of the regular season.